What's considered taboo, but shouldn't be? X education. Definitely, Xgimple0RDXX. Being alone. It seems like everyone thinks sitting alone at a restaurant is the weirdest thing, but I enjoy a nice dinner on my own every now and again. And, it seems like there's even a stigma about people being alone at theaters or even staying home on a Friday night rather than going out for a drink. I just don't get it. This not only is it not a taboo, it's an important life skill. You need to learn to enjoy your own company, because there may come a time in your life where there won't be any other options. It also makes you more selective of the people you want to hang out with, because you won't be desperate to just talk to anyone. Don't get me wrong, being social is not bad by default, but if you would rather be with anyone else rather than by yourself, you may end up with the wrong people. Talking about and getting treatment for mental illness. Booked my first ever appointment to see a mental health professional today. I am so afraid of my parents finding out. I'm a literal adult. I'm proud of you. Black cats. They want to be loved too. How much you get paid? This I never understand. Are people so afraid and jealous? In Finland you can find out the yearly income of anyone in the country. Newspapers release long lists of well-earning people by location so you can check who make the most dough of your city, etc. Then you can query anyone's tax information if you're interested. It is not people that are afraid, but companies. By forbidding people to discuss their salaries, they can set wages and contracts as they please, regardless of the amount of work a certain person does. Choosing not to have kids. I think it's not everyone's business when someone decides not to have kids after marriage. It's better not to have kids if you don't have the capacity to take care of them, financially and emotionally. Talking about periods or period products. PSH. This is rich coming from a redditor who didn't use a period at the end of their sentence. Grown men who like children. If you're one of the people who don't think that's taboo, talk to the other half of the people who read that sentence as advocating pedophilia. It's not. Masturbation. This thread has been an eye-opener. I've always considered it natural and healthy for both genders, but apparently that's an unpopular view in some quarters. I'm still suspicious of people who claim not to. 9 out of 10 men admit to having fapped. The other one is a liar. Periods. X education. Yeah, nobody talks about the pain, what can hurt and what not. Choosing not to pursue romantic relationships. Being naked. Therapy. It's still taboo for some, which doesn't make sense. I remember saying to my granddad that therapy is normal, and he beat the living crap out of me with a bat, which happens most of the time. It's disgusting how people think that therapy is taboo. Puberty and what comes with it. Men crying. People say man up, but men have emotions too. The naked human body. Everyone has a body, but if it's naked it's definitely a sexual thing, when it shouldn't necessarily be. We as a species are weird. Asking someone if they are homo or heterosexual. I'm a straight male, but if I weren't, I couldn't imagine having to wait to find out if someone were interested in me or if I could pursue someone. I imagine it's just unnecessarily anxiety inducing. Women nipples. If men nipples are fine, women nipples should be too. Especially for nursing mothers. Pregnancy. Baby loss. When I lost my daughter and talked about it, I was blown away by the amount of people who said they had also lost a child. Even more so, abortion. For whatever reason and whatever gestation it occurs. My loss was a later abortion for medical reasons, and once again, when I shared my story on social media, 3 people that I knew in real life had an abortion for medical reasons. Yet we always feel so alone. I am in no way saying anyone is obligated to share their story of loss or abortion, but telling my story helped me get through my grief. Plus there is so much misinformation on abortion out there. I like to try to dispel some of the myths. Breastfeeding. Anywhere. It's literally the most natural thing ever. Not smiling or talking during meals or at every altercation. It just seems fake to me and I don't like it, and I feel comfortable in quiet. People think silence is so awkward. Harmless sexual fetishes. I don't think we realize how much psychological damage we do to people by acting like anyone who has a fetish that's even slightly unusual is a disgusting perverted freak. Feminine straight men. Blows my mind how women can wear masculine clothes and they're quirky or tomboy, but the moment a guy does he's showered in homophobic slurs etc. Let people live their lives like damn. Living with your parents as an adult. I get why some people move out. But why do so many people shame those who don't choose to move out or avoid this conversation altogether? Not only are there hundreds of millions of lonely people in this world who live by themselves, but there are also so many people who would be left financially struggling and, or without a support network if they felt pressured enough to exit. Proper education. For all sexualities and genders. Stem cell research, euthanasia and abortion. Being a woman who doesn't want to have kids. Talking about sex, menstruation, masturbation, suicide, death etc. The first group of sexual taboo group only slows down sexual education in society, which leads to misconceptions and misunderstandings in this sphere. I don't know about other countries, but in Russia, where I used to live almost all my entire life, this topic is unofficially prohibited to bring up. Allegedly, children or teens may hear it and their minds will be perverted. Some people just don't understand these teens may have already had more sexual experience than their parents as they've gotten knowledge from Pornhub. But anyway, it would be much better if the youth got that knowledge from parents rather than friends or peen sites. And there is the same situation with the death topic. The fact that 9-year-old me asked my grandparents how it feels not to be alive does not mean I wanted to commit suicide. It meant that I was a curious child who had the right to have his question answered. Discussing pay with your co-workers. It is literally the best way to put pressure on your boss. They're the ones paying you. If everyone knows what everyone makes and management is openly accountable for keeping everything fair, then we can root out the jealousy and ill will between each other and direct it to the boss instead. An adult having fun or being excited about something. The pill. Seriously, it sucks that it was demonized to me, cause honestly, it would have helped so much if I took it when I was younger. Human transmutation. On a serious note though, euthanasia really makes me sick that people would choose to keep those in a comatose, vegetative state, where they are basically robbed of their humanity, alive to suffer, because they can't man the frick up. It makes me so sick. It's glorified sadism and nothing makes me so freaking mad, because I cannot imagine having to suffer like that. Being open about BDSM. Why can we not openly talk about Bible discussion study meetings without getting weird looks? X. I'm looking at you, America. Talking about politics. I just think that if people would talk about it more, then we would be able to learn more openly about political issues, and therefore make better informed opinions and decisions. Breasts. They aren't actually reproductive organs, and a woman deciding to go topless should be treated equally to a man going topless. The whole thing is weird too. Most censorship allows showing breasts if the nipples are covered, but male nipples look exactly the same as female nipples, so it doesn't even make sense in the argument of a woman's breasts looking different from a man's chest. Being suicidal. I feel like you should be allowed to want to die without being sent to Claymore. Cross-dressing. It's weirder that we assign shapes of fabric by gender than if we didn't, and it's not even consistent globally or throughout history. All about mental illness. How are most of the responses here taboo? Masturbation, especially female masturbation. How about disabled people and their need for sexual release? Don't think we will see a charity for that anytime soon. Euthanasia. Parents disciplining their kids when they act out in public. The kid isn't saying something or needs more attention. They are being a spoiled brat and need one of their parents to tell them to cut that it out immediately. Idiots out here call it abuse. But what's more abusive is letting the kid think they can live with consequences. That kid doesn't own the parents own the kid, and sometimes they gotta get in their face and remind them. Swearing, cursing. OCD, XED, antidepressants. Plastic surgery and augmentation. Yes, it's more accessible than ever, but there's still a huge stigma about saying I want to get XYZ done. Consensual age gap relationships. Smoking weed. There is literally no difference between my nightly bowl and your nightly glass of wine.